and my pronouns are he and his. In the morning, as the day breaks, in the moments between night and day, we are greeted with the hues of colors, a spectrum of beauty before us. When we are open, when we are willing, we rise and greet the dawn. We get to linger in awe. We hear the murmurs of resurrection moments, events beyond our grasp, and yet we hear the echoes of disciples standing in awe. While we do not comprehend their experience, we know and can claim awe in our lives.
These mysterious moments and the events that capture our hearts and minds transform us and move us to fully become ourselves as we experience our oneness in all that is, in the spaces beyond the binary, in the sublime, beyond categories. We celebrate all that helps us to transition. This morning we rise to claim the resurrecting love that happens over and over again. We rise to celebrate the pattern of resurrection. As we gather this morning, we invite you to join us in singing. If you are in person, we invite you to stand as you are able. If you are joining us online, we invite you to sing loud and strong from your couch, car, or wherever you are. We welcome one another as we join our voices together wherever we are.
Resurrection is rarely a swift occurrence. Just look to the forest floors or the pages of history and find the pace of sacred things. Trust the hidden work of God, quietly moving beneath the fractured and fissured surface, tending and holding, pruning and clarifying, undoing and recreating. If all is still quiet, take heart and remain. There is so much courage in hope that resists timelines, compressed by technology and profit. There is so much power in refusing to rush or be rushed in righteous labors of reorienting and repair. May the divine unfoldings be granted all the space we need. May the testimony of freshly budding things strengthen and inspire us. May the wisdom of generations be our teachers, our anchors, our comfort. In this light, point to the moment burning in our midst to claim a hope leading us onward. May we go with courage.
Mysterious spirit of hope and wonder. Amidst the sorrow of the world, we seek signs of life. We long for empty tombs. Our hearts break for those for whom Easter will never come. The injustice of the world seeming to swallow us whole. Tend with us our grief in that tending, that we may open space for new life to live alongside it. Practice hope, relish wisdom, and embody freedom. For you are a God who holds all things. May the peace that passes all understanding be with you. To those online, we invite you to share this ancient greeting in the chat. For all those in the sanctuary, we invite you to turn around to the camera and say hello to all worshiping with us in the digital space this morning. For those of us in the sanctuary, you are invited to share this ancient greeting with those seated near you.
I love all the running in the aisles. It's wonderful. Peace, happy Easter. Happy Easter. It's so good to be with you all. What a joy and delight to share this morning. A few of us have been here a long time. We've been in the garden. We've been rolling eggs. We've been eating breakfast. Some of us are just gathering this space. Some are gathering online. Welcome. We are so glad you're here, whether this is your first time here, whether it's been a while, whether you're here every Sunday or somewhere in between. Thank you for being here. Here are a few of these images that I'm talking about. It got a little intense out there. There was some competition with the egg rolling. It was really great. I'm Pastor Jenn. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am thrilled to get to share this day as we greet Easter with one another, as we say Happy Trans Day of Visibility, and share in all the goodness of new life and resurrection together. A few things about the life of this church. I want to just give you some information, a few ways you can connect with us, follow us going forward, and a few notes about our time together. It may be a lot, that's okay. Do as you need in this space. Your presence and just being here is a gift. Saying the words, being attentive, the hugs you give, the greeting, it is a gift. Being with us online, so thank you for that. Whatever else happens this morning, I hope you find the space of meaning. But again, a way to connect with us going forward. If you have your cell phone out and available, pretend like you're going to take a picture, hold up to the QR code, and you can share your name, phone number, email, or don't do it at all. That's okay. If you'd like more information or just, again, to let us know, there's a link that's dropped. When the offering plate is passed, you can also write your name and any information and put it in the offering plate if you would like. Again, just if you want to get connected through the avenues or other things and know what's going on in the life of the church, you can always call us or email us as well if you have questions. So a few things that are going on. We gather on Tuesdays at the Dancing Mule. It is a highlight of the week for me. At 10:30, we gather around the table, share delicious treats, and really meaningful conversation. Sometimes lots of just lighthearted. Some of my favorite book suggestions have come from that table. So again, a space, I know that's not a time everyone can gather. So if you're interested in another time to go for a walk or conversation or meet up again at Dancing Mule, let us know, again, in that spot where you checked in, and we'll find another time to connect that works with your schedule. So we do have an app. It's actually not new, but we do have an app. So again, you can scan the QR code up here if you have any problems downloading or any questions. But this is another way you can connect to know some of the things that are happening in the life of this community and what's going on and things going forward. Do want to make sure it's on your calendar. April 13th, this is a Saturday, will be our first Spark event. We're doing this in combination with a few other partners that include the venues, Brentwood Christian Church, and several others, Pitts Chapel. That this will be just a day of sparking great conversation and delight and play. That we really feel like, especially as adults, kids are really great at this, but the opportunity to get together and play and find community through this space. So Robot the Fancy Animal, who is a dear friend of mine, she plays ukulele and she's so talented, and Ivy King, who many of us know, are going to be performing. This event is free. So we do ask for folks to sign up so we know how much granola to make for the event. So a few things, again, it's going to be a real sweet day. There'll be bubbles, play, so all are encouraged, all ages. It's 11 to 2 on April 13th. If you have questions or want to help volunteer, please ask me, find me, and I'll tell you more about how to get connected to that. The Climate Forum, we had shared about this. We were originally going to host this event. So this is happening across our nation and will be live streamed. This is actually going to be hosted at Brentwood Christian Church. It is Tuesday, April 16th. It's 11 to 4 o'clock. So I know, again, that may not be available to all of us, but if you're interested in learning more about this, let us know. We'd love to connect you. This is a wonderful opportunity, especially as communities of faith, to talk about how we can address climate issues on a national level, because we know that we have a lot of big questions and concerns, but this will be intersections of policy, what we can do locally, and again, connecting across our nation with folks, again, at Brentwood Christian Church. So let us know if you have more questions or would like to attend that event. It is one you can do at home from your own computer if you don't want to go somewhere. So again, there's a couple opportunities and ways to connect with that. Just message us and we'll get you more information. So we have a handful of us, I actually think we're up to like 8 or 9 of us, that are going to be traveling to Nicaragua at the beginning of June. So there's still room if you're interested in learning more. Megan, the executive director of Rainbow Network, will be with us next Sunday at noon. So this will be your last chance to really okay, I've been thinking about this, or I've been attending meetings and I want to find out all the answers to my questions. Is it safe to go? What does it mean? What am I doing? I can tell you, yes, they wouldn't take us if they didn't feel confident that they could take us. And you get to meet our new community. We're so excited that we've been with a community that has graduated out of the program, which is wonderful celebration, and we get to connect with a new community. So those going will be the ones who get to build this relationship and get to know the folks on the ground on behalf of National Avenue. So we're very excited. Again, if you have any questions or want to know more, you can see Neil or Brad. Would you guys raise your hands? Yeah. Or let me know and I'll connect you. Again, next Sunday at noon will be the opportunity to find out more about that. We have seen a few hints of the flowers and music. Several of you have given to make it possible for the music throughout this season, and we'll get to share together today, and the flowers. I want to just give a big hand and thank you to a couple of folks who helped make this possible, Donna, Susan, a few others that helped this morning in particular, and all of you. So can we say thank you? Look how beautiful. Just so much fun to get to see the space just come to new life in this way. We've seen the names of those folks, and we'll see them again a few times throughout worship, but we remember that we're holding memory and celebration in honor of several of our loved ones that have walked ahead of us or are with us, and we're thankful we get to share that celebration together this morning. Crosslines is going to be taking shampoo. I believe this will be the Friday that those will go out, I'm pretty sure. So you can bring those in up until Thursday. You can drop them off in the office, and we've got a space for that. These are a wonderful addition to helping to hand out food. This gives folks who wouldn't always be able to use that the extra items that they need in their house. So please bring shampoo through this Thursday so we can get it to our neighbors there at Crosslines. With all of these wonderful things, it is now time for a moment of Q.
Good morning. I am Pastor Jody, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I was just reminded that when I get up to give a moment of Q, there may be many of you who don't know what a moment of Q is. So to bring everybody up to speed, this is our 75th anniversary as a church. And we decided that one of the many things we're going to do is to give a gift to our community of a free play. And we have chosen the play Quilters. We will be putting it on in July, but it is already much in process. It is a beautiful folk music, not really a musical, a folk music play. And so we hope that you'll start thinking about reserving the dates, which are July 12th, 13th, and 14th, that you will help us as we put together the things, because we are doing this as a congregation, again, to give as a gift to our community. So thank you to those of you who have brought wooden spoons. We still could use a few more. Thank you to those of you who have brought fabric. We can always use a bit more. And a new request, I need 4 more of these. It's just a wooden hoop with the adjustable screw. So if any of you have some of these at home, bring them on in. And together we will do a production of Quilters and give it to our community. Now, let's move on with worship. And so first, a nice deep breath. Let yourself sink into all the love that is in this room, all the care, the people who do wonderful things in our community, and for each other. Know that in this place you are beloved. Find a posture when you can relax. And let us listen to the word of Scripture.
From the Gospel of Mark, chapter 16, verses 1 through 8, from the Common English Translation. Your first story of resurrection. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so they could go and anoint Jesus' dead body. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they came to the tomb. They were saying to each other, "Who's going to roll away the stone on the entrance for us?" But when they looked up, they saw the stone had been rolled away, and it was a very large stone. Going to the tomb, they saw a young man in a white robe seated at the right side. They were startled. But he said to them, "Don't be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised." And they were startled. He isn't here, the voice continued. Look, here's the place where they laid him. Go tell the disciples, especially Peter, that he's going ahead of you into Galilee. You will see him there, just as he told you. Overcome with terror and dread, they fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. I can imagine some of you might be thinking, wait, what? That's not the story of resurrection. What's going on? What did she just say? That's not the one I remember or I recall. So I want to make a note here. There are two more stories that follow this ending in the Gospel of Mark. Later writers thought that Mark got it wrong. I mean, you might agree with them, I don't know. But they decided that they were going to add two more pieces to the story. But this is the original ending of Mark's gospel. It's not a happy ending. I want to sit with it for just a moment because it feels honest to me and it feels like a really important part of the story of resurrection. The women were afraid. They had eaten with Jesus. They had walked the streets with Jesus. They had been alongside him as he healed, as he loved, as he tended to people. They had been there when he challenged authority. They were with him as he was crucified. And they showed up with the spices, doing what women know to do, to show up in those moments of fear. But the story didn't go how they thought that it was going to go when they got there. And one can't help but wonder, were they afraid? Did they have fear? Because whatever had happened, they wondered, could we be next? I think there's something powerful and profound about naming the fear. It's evident in the stories of resurrection in our lives today. Too often we tell the story like this: Jesus died on a cross to save us from our sins. We take something with that meaning of the story and we twist it. We take away the political and the powerful actions of Jesus' story and his life. We dilute a revolutionary message of love, a story of transformation, a story of resurrection. The story and metaphor of resurrection lose their power when we don't fully understand that the work of Jesus and these powerful implications of his life and his love. We potentially miss this opportunity of who God is for us and who God can be for us now. Reverend Linda Noon offers this. If you want to know where Jesus is now, look among the people who have been targeted for crucifixion in our society. Those whose bodies and whose power makes authorities nervous. Black and brown bodies, women's bodies, trans and gender non-conforming bodies, disabled bodies, those without houses, those dislocated, disenfranchised, and without documentation. Those who are afraid for their lives, for their children, for their family, afraid for so many things. Resurrection invites us to hold the story a little differently, to see it potentially as a metaphor, an invitation calling us to practice new life, to see and claim where Jesus is, especially in those difficult places. John Dominic Crossan reminds us life is lived through metaphor. So to anyone who says, oh, that's just a metaphor, we ought to stop and remind each other. Metaphor is how we make meaning. It's how we learn to see and understand and interpret the world. To say resurrection is a metaphor is to say how we live and how we see and experience the world is to say this powerful idea is helping us to make meaning and understand what's around us. Crossan urges us, if we are wise, we will stop and ask ourselves, how is that metaphor working for us? What is it doing in our lives? Do we need to adapt or let it be evolved in our midst? As we hold the stories of resurrection today, remember, this is one ending to this story. One story of resurrection, a powerful reminder from a group of women. we sometimes need to sit with our fear. In fact, it will guide us. It'll challenge us. It may help to center us. And we don't stay in the fear. Our conversation partner this season, the former Bishop John Shelby Spong, offers this. The Easter experience in the New Testament, contrary to what we have traditionally been taught over the years, is not about bodies walking out of the grave. It's far more profound than that. It's a story that invites us to see a transcendent dimension of life into which we can all enter, an experience of life that is expanded, love that is unlimited, and all that is being enhanced. A God whose presence and power calls us into our essential oneness, our universal consciousness, our interconnectedness. We are part of who and what God is. God is not a noun we are compelled to define, he continues. God is a verb we are invited to live. Resurrection is both experienced and entered. Dear ones, the story is still being written. Resurrection continues. This is not the end. However we are feeling today, whether it's joyful, excitement, fearful, wherever we are today, whatever emotions we might bring, we are invited to step into this story and to rise, to join the story, to say yes to this pattern of resurrection around us, always, always unfolding. Let us continue to spring up and rise with a new life in our midst. May it be so. I invite you just to take another moment to center and let these words and story simmer in our being, and we'll share together in a prayer in just a moment. Let us sit for just a moment to hold these words. From deep within our tombs, we hear you call, O God. Rise up from death into new life. We have found new life in the spring season, in buds pushing out of the ground, in each deep breath we breathe. We have found new life in people's struggle for just government throughout the world, and in people who pray together when the unspeakable occurs. From deep within our tombs, we hear you call, O God. Rise up from death into new life. We follow your voice in our hope to overcome illness, grief, addiction, fear. We follow your voice in our hope to heal your creation, to make whole our connection to all that is. From deep within our tombs, we hear you call, O God. Rise up from death into new life. Resurrecting God, you call us to follow the Christ, to rise up from our tombs that hold us in death. But you do not expect us to do so alone. It is you who fills us with life beyond our daily deaths. It is you who strengthens us to bring life to others. It is you, Holy One, whom we hear call within our tombs. Rise up. And so we do. We are here. Alleluia.
Thank you for that, choir. My name is Ashley Quinn. My pronouns are he, him, his. And it strikes me that we've now come to Resurrection Sunday, and at this church this year, we've not actually read aloud the story from 2 days ago of Jesus' death. So I thought I would do that. After Pilate had heard these accusations, this is coming from the Gospel of John, he sent Jesus out to look out and took his seat in the place where he rendered judgment. This place was called the Pavement, or Tabitha in Hebrew. All this occurred in the 6th hour on the day everyone prepares for the Passover. Pontius Pilate said to the people, "Look, here is your king." And they said, "Put him away, crucify him." "You want me to crucify your king?" And the chief priest said, "We have no king but Caesar." Pilate handed him over to his soldiers, knowing that he would be crucified. They sent Jesus out carrying his own instrument of execution, the cross, to a hill known as the place of the skull, or Golgotha in Hebrew. In that place, they crucified him along with 2 others. One was on his right and the other on his left. Pilate ordered that a plaque be placed above Jesus' head. It read, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." Because the site was near an urban region, it was written in 3 languages, Greek, Latin, and Hebrew, so that all could understand. The chief priests came to Pilate and said, "Don't write, 'the King of the Jews,' write, 'He said, I am the King of the Jews.'" And Pilate said, "I have written what I have written." Jesus was, let me see here. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Jesus is on the cross and he says, "I'm thirsty." And there's a jar of sour wine that had been left there, so they took the hyssop branch with the sponge soaked in vinegar and they put it to his mouth. And when Jesus drank, he spoke, "It is finished." In that moment, his head fell and he gave up his spirit. Haley, our community care coordinator that's here during the week, said more than once on Friday, "Why do we call it Good Friday?" And Jenn and I were just kind of like, yeah, that's a good question. It's valid. I spent some time on this Good Friday at an educational event with multiple speakers sharing their stories for what is today's Transgender Day of Visibility. There was not a single story told that could be only joy-filled. Each one of us spoke of some oppression, some fear, some danger in our lives, often either the peril of trying to live as our old selves, or the dangers of living in a society in which we are under constant legislative, religious, social, and interpersonal, and often frequently physically violent attacks. Each of us that takes the step to live the only way we know how to move forward knows we do so under threat, and still we must. Pastor Jody was talking about how she talks with the kids about Jesus' execution. That he died because his radical love challenged the status quo and the powerful, and even though he knew they might kill him to try to stop him, he wouldn't stop loving people anyway. Jesus didn't have to die. He wasn't born to die any more than any one of us. He was born to live. And he lived really, really well. And he worked to co-create a better world. And he modeled for us how to do so. Julian K. Jarboe says, "God blessed me by making me trans for the same reason that God made wheat and not bread, and fruit but not wine, so that humanity might share in the act of co-creation." I like to think of trans folks like butterflies. Who among us would look to the caterpillar and say, "God made you a caterpillar, and that you shall forever remain"? May we all be willing to step forward into resurrection, into co-creating a better world, as we live our authentic selves, loving a radical love that even the tomb cannot hold back. Will you join me in our prayer of visibility? In a world that so boringly, so violently, so stubbornly insists on its stale and narrow gender rules and regulations, God themselves is a state of constant transition. Though many try to tame their wild and make them into the image of power and fix them permanently in one static being, they are change in a world that loves control. They take our attempt at definitions and confuse them. They trouble our most basic assumptions about ourselves, the earth, each other. God, unwilling to stick to a single form for our comfortable comprehension, incapable of making themselves so flat. Their names are always changing. They are a multitude of incarnations. Our deliverer from the status quo, our liberator from ordinary logics of power, our invitation to live into the abundance of possibilities within and around us. What a blessing every trans child birthed unto us. Precious glimpses, holy encounters, glorious invitations to recognize the image of God, the gifts of being and becoming, so much more than what's been placed upon us, the possibilities for living without losing a part of ourselves, the desire to know and be known, vulnerably, truthfully, entirely, alive in all of us. As the choir takes their places for this next song, I thought I would share a little personal story related to it. In 2016, in June of that year, I had come out to my parents, my ex-wife, and maybe one other person as trans, and then I went to the Philly Trans Health Conference in Philadelphia and was surrounded by trans people, and it was a magical, wonderful place. And then on Saturday night of that conference, I woke up to the news on that Sunday morning that the Pulse nightclub had been massacred the night before. And I was getting up and I was going to church with my cousin at a Catholic church that she went to, and I thought, are they going to mention it at all? Will they say something terrible, like that we deserved it or something like that at this Mass? I don't think they ended up mentioning it, but I just remember being afraid of that going into that service. And I just was walking through the morning, feeling very alone. And then we went to lunch, and we thought it was odd that it was so hard to find parking in the area of town where we were going to lunch. And it turned out it was because there was a pride parade happening that morning that I had no idea was happening, and we just accidentally walked into a pride parade. And it was a wonderful, wonderful feeling. There were people twirling batons and roller skating by, and it just felt amazing, and I felt immediately better. A couple of nights later, I walked into a gay bar again for the first time after that shooting, and it was here in Springfield at Martha's. They were doing a drag race style competition, and one of the performers came out and played this song and simply lit 49 candles on the table. They didn't lip sync, they didn't dance, they just lit a candle for each of the lives lost at Pulse. And so that's what this song means to me, and I think it will also have a new meaning this Easter as well. So thank you.
is Reed Bisso. My pronouns are he, him, his. So Jenn asked me to lead us in a practice to help us slow down, just kind of introspect. And it's something that I am very passionate about, but I'm also very terrible at personally. So I thought, sure, who better to lead? Those who can't do teach. So before I actually get into the practice today, I want to kind of talk about the reasoning behind it and the purpose of it, kind of the objective of it. So when we don't slow down, we get in a state of, our system gets in a state of defensiveness, and we get rushed and we get unfamiliar with our body. So kind of think of it like when your car makes a noise and you get really nervous because you don't know what that means, so you just turn the radio up and hope for the best. So that's kind of what we do with our system. And what that does is we really not only do our actual needs go unmet, we start meeting it in a superficial way, but we also just start becoming very unfamiliar with ourselves. Meaning I don't know why I'm responding, or I don't even realize I'm responding the way I am until after the fact. And that leads into very unhelpful cycles. So I really appreciate this practice because it just is a time for us to slow down, but also just to help us get familiar with us. Why am I responding the way that I am? I have, my sister-in-law is a very brilliant nurse, just to kind of relate to this in a physical sense. And one time I was having a lot of knee pain and kind of putting it off because who has time for that? And then I started complaining to her because I said, well, golly, now my ankle is hurting, and now my hip is hurting, and now I have new things that are hurting. And so she kind of put her head down because I was detached, and she goes, well, Reed, the head bone is connected to the neck bone, meaning I have become so accustomed to the knee pain that when other parts of my body, because of how I was walking to compensate, other parts of my body started hurting, I didn't even recognize that it was because of the knee. I just recognized it as new things. So I appreciate this exercise because it just helps us get familiar with how am I responding to what's going on around me. So now our body, which is beautifully and wonderfully made, is giving us feedback. How am I responding to this situation? Now, before we get into this practice, also what I would encourage is whatever comes up for you, this helps us recognize this as non-judgmental. So if you're angry today and that comes up, this isn't, I shouldn't be angry because this is Easter. This is what's going on, because it's informing us. And if I don't know what's going on with me, then how do I know what to do with it properly? What am I needing? So this helps us create a safe space in ourselves, regardless of what's going on around us. We just become more well-informed. So what the practice is, some people call it emotional check-ins, some people call it doing an emotional inventory, call it whatever you'd like. So what I'd invite you to do, first what we're gonna do is just sit quietly and get in tune with our emotions. What emotions are going on inside of me? Now, we're all very good at doing what I call the headers, identifying anger, sad, happy, anxious. Those can come up too, but if you can get maybe 2 or 3 more emotions that are coming up, again, the more informed you are of what's going on, probably the better that this is going to be helpful. So for example, if anger is coming up in you, are you also maybe feeling embarrassed, unheard, overlooked, hurt? What else is coming up with that? Because again, this is informing of what's going on in us. Then what I'm going to invite you to do is really tuning into where are you feeling that in your body. I know for me that when I'm feeling angry, I feel kind of a stomach drop feeling. And my chest gets really cold, but the rest of my body gets really hot. And so I'm more aware and alert of that. This is just how I respond and what's going on in me. Again, the purpose of this is not so much, is this wrong, is this right, or even right now, why am I feeling this? but just getting familiar. Think of it kind of like, well, the non-judgmental part is really going to be important. Think of it like comforting a child. If a young child is coming up to you and they're almost that hyperventilating crying, you don't go into problem solve mode. Sit on my lap. Let's take a breath. Let's wash your face off. Calm down. Now what's going on? And in that, our emotions become part of the problem solving and navigating life. We need both of those to work, to be able to navigate what we're needing in the bombardment of everyday life. So what I'd like you to do is, I'll keep kind of track of time. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. You don't have to. But we're just going to take a few moments and really just kind of tune in initially to what am I feeling. And again, if you can get 2 or 3 emotions, whatever comes up, it's coming up, and just allow it to come up. And now tune into your body. What's going on in your body, and what is it telling you? This isn't right. It's not wrong. It is. I would even encourage to thank your body for telling you what's going on. I would encourage you to use this practice. This isn't just when things are going wrong. This is just to tune in. Again, if you're sitting here feeling contentment and happy that came up, what does that feel like? The more we know about ourselves, the more we're knowing what we need, and the more we can kind of navigate and rise up. This morning's offerings will now be given and received.
to live in the gladness and grace of Easter Sunday every day. Let us have hearts of thankfulness for your sacrifice. Let us have eyes that look upon your grace and rejoice in our salvation. Help us to walk in that mighty grace and tell your good news to the world. Amen.
Please be seated. Just a word of welcome and reminder as we share this table. All are welcome, and we mean it. Every single one of us is invited. This is not our table. This is the table we share of love. As you come forward, you're invited to take a piece of bread. It's already on a toothpick, to dip it in the cup, and then you can leave the toothpick in the trash bowl of love. We got you up here. If you're not comfortable coming forward, we'll come to you and share communion. And if it's part of your tradition not to share communion, that's okay. We just wanted you to know and be encouraged and reminded that you are welcome and what we do and share together. If you're at home, I hope you have a delicious cinnamon roll or something wonderful there that you're sharing and partaking and sharing the table with us.
Also, just a reminder as we come to the table, we don't come to the table because we're ready. We come to the table to get ready. So know that the welcome extends to you even if you're not ready. Today we come to share in the sacred story and share in the feast of the resurrection. We look for ways to strengthen love in all our relationships, to live in ways that lift each other's souls, and to build for every person a place that they might know the beauty of being celebrated for who they are. At this table, we fill ourselves up with the things of love that we might give strength and bravery to one another. As those who share a vision of a love-filled world, we break this bread as Jesus did, and we eat together knowing it is the bread of new life. We also pour and share the cup as Jesus did, knowing it is our desire for others to come and drink from this cup of hope along with all of us. As we share this meal on this Easter morning, we seek to give ourselves in love, and in so doing, resurrect the power of God again and again.
Let us pray. Eternal and most gracious God, we humbly come to you and this table to pray for our fellow humans in struggle, in grief, in love, and in joy. We are grateful for your love, surrounding us with shelter from the storm and beauty after the storm has passed. May we in turn be peacemakers and lovers of your earth and all of her inhabitants. Bless this bread and cup, sharing your love and peace with everyone we meet. May it be so.
can't say enough thank yous. Oh my goodness, to this morning. To the music, oh my gosh, thank you. Oh, so much goodness. Ashley, for your voice, thank you. Your words to us, thank you. To Reed, thank you. To the tech booth that is quiet and beautiful and does the things. You'll see some of the names of our musicians listed here, but thank you. I hope that you have, whatever emotions you bring, you've got to be fully yourself. Take a moment with that, but thank you again for your presence and being here. A couple of quick notes. So there are lots of beautiful flowers. I know a few made with a vision of they were taking their flowers, but then there are extra bouquets. So I hope you'll linger around and take a bouquet. We want the flowers to find a home today. So those of you who made a specific one, get that, and then please make sure they go home and enjoy it and go out. There is some food. I hope you'll linger in the gallery before you go on to the next adventure and celebration of this day. But there's still some food from this morning, so please stop and linger, have a cup of coffee. The pancakes and French toast were great, so you can grab one of those before you leave for lunch today. And a quick reminder, this Tuesday is an election day, so hope you get out and vote, whatever that might mean. If you need any help with any information, please don't hesitate to ask, but there's great stuff out there. But just a reminder, please go vote this Tuesday as we celebrate new life in our way that we can participate in all that is happening around us. So with all of these things, I think that's all the things, and encourage you to stand and let us join our voices together in song before we leave from this place. Let us sing, "In the Bulb There Is a Flower." 638.
Poem to bless our journey. The green of Jesus is breaking the ground, and the sweet smell of delicious Jesus is opening the house, and the dance of Jesus' music has hold of the air, and the world is turning in the body of Jesus, and the future is possible. Alleluia. We will rise.